Hi, I'm Kyle Mitchell with the Whitaker Brothers, and we're here with a very special product. This is the Martin Yale 1611. We've got one here in our demo room. We wanted to give you a really in-depth overview of exactly what this can do, what this can't do, what happens when it breaks, and also finally my personal opinion on this paper folder. Now, the Martin Yale 1611 is a manual paper folder. That doesn't mean that we're taking paper, we're folding it by hand, or that we feed it one at a time. It doesn't relate to that. Manual versus fully automatic only relates to how you adjust the fold. If this is a fully automatic paper folder, then all these would be buttons. We push one of them and the fold plates adjust themselves, but it's manual. So in order to make a fold plate adjustment, we have to loosen up a thumb screw and then we can move the fold plate wherever we want to put it. Now, when do you pick what? The answer to that kind of depends on how many different people are using the paper folder. If you've got one expert user, maybe two, maybe three who are good at this stuff, maybe they have experience with paper folders, then a fully automatic paper folder is probably going to be overkill for you. Manual's all you need. If you've got a whole bunch of different users, can't really keep track of them, maybe 5 to 10 people in the office walk up to use this machine in a given day. At that point, you're going to want a fully automatic paper folder because the fold plates will automatically adjust themselves. You don't have to worry about anybody who's not trained using the paper folder and not being able to figure it out. There is a price advantage to manual paper folders. Because this machine doesn't adjust itself, it's going to be much less expensive. The parent product is the Martin Yale 1711. It's almost exactly the same thing, except the difference is it's fully automatic and it costs almost twice as much. So try to use that to gauge what's going to be best for you. Feel free to give us a call. We're happy to give you some guidance. But you know what? I think I've done enough talking about the machine. Let's run it. All right, so now we're actually going to run this machine. Now, we've got all sorts of measurements right up here, and these will give you exact measurements to 1/100th of an inch of where these fold plates, one right here and one down here, which I'll show you later, where they need to be in order to operate. The other thing you can use if you're a slacker like I am, there's color-coded images right on the paper folder plates, and you can adjust those yourself. So I've got on the top here, I've got one that looks like it's a Z fold, and down here I've got it adjusted and set to another picture that looks like a Z fold, so I have a pretty good feeling when we press go, we're going to get a Z fold. So let's see it run. Now as you can see, we got a whole bunch of Z folded documents. Nothing to it. The adjustment was quick and easy. We've got a stack right here. We can put this off to the side. Now this has a couple other fun features too. Right here in the middle, multi-sheet feeder. And that's used when you want to fold a stapled set. Now I don't have a stapled set, but I've got a normal set. And I'm going to run all 5 of these sheets of paper through the machine at one time. All I do to do that is feed the paper in there. I'm going to support it a little bit. And just like that, we've got 5 sheets folded all at once. Works just fine. Some of the nice features about this, it has an exit conveyor. You want to be sure that you adjust it. If you have the exit conveyor set way too close to the machine and you're folding paper larger than 8.5 by 11, you're going to get a jam in the back. You're probably going to think the machine's broken actually. We get those calls on a daily basis. In reality, you just need to give the machine more space or less space. It all depends on how wide or how large or how much space that finished folded piece takes up. Right now we've got it set for a Z fold on 8.5 by 11 paper, but if we were to do a half fold, means just folding it in half, you can take a look at the difference in the amount of size that there is. The conveyor is going to need more space to receive a document that's going to be folded in half. That about does it for showing you how the equipment works. Let's show you what happens when it doesn't work. Alright, so you've seen the machine work perfectly, and that's fantastic, but let's break it on purpose. One of the great things about being a brick and mortar company is that we actually get to see and touch these machines. And when you're a salesman like I am, you want to break them too, because frankly, that's what our customers are going to do. So right now, I have pushed the the exit conveyor tires all the way up as close as they can get. And right here I've got a sheet of paper, I've got about 3 sheets of paper loaded, and I have the machine set to do a half fold. So this should break the machine. It should back up somewhere inside. Yep. Sure enough, somewhere in here we've got a jam. So I'm going to show you how we'll check for it. First thing you want to do, and the only thing you really want to do, is you want to open up the paper path. Somewhere in that paper path, you've got a piece of paper. So we're going to take this off, and I can actually already see the sheet of paper. I'm going to pretend I can't see that quite yet. In order to remove these fold plates, it's a very easy process. We just lift up and pull out. Again, the back fold plate, lift up, pull out, and that slides in on the other side. So now I can see a lot of the paper path, and I can't see any of the paper here. I can see it here, and all we do is just pull, and now we have freed up our piece of paper. Looks like it got kind of mangled in there. We designed it to do that, and now we freed up the paper jam. So now let me show you what it's like to put it back together. But before I do that, one more option for not only freeing up a paper jam, but also for seeing all of the fold rollers and being able to make adjustments to them. And I don't mean that you're going to have to tweak the fold rollers, but I mean if you ever need to take them out to clean them, or if you just want to clean them in the machine, this is how you're going to want to do it. 2 screws. I'm not a handyman, but I know how to use a screwdriver. I'll remove 1 screw. I'll remove the 2nd screw. And now the multi-sheet feeder comes off all in one piece. And what we have exposed right now is the entire fold roller system. I can have access to every single fold roller on here. So if I want to clean off toner, if I want to perform any sort of repair, I want to blow out paper dust, anything I want to do, I can do it with the access that I've been given here. Now, the issue with paper folders, especially in this area, in this spectrum, is that a single service call is going to cost you $200 or $300, and that might be half the price of the paper folder that you bought. So with that in mind, why don't you just throw the machine out once it's done? Here at Whitaker Brothers, we kind of saw that as an emerging problem, so we created the Whitaker Brothers Fold Roller Kit. It's got a few different things that you're going to need to maintain your paper folder. The first one, and most important, is Whitaker Brothers Roller Cleaner and Conditioner. You get to spray this onto your rollers and then you wipe it off. But you don't want to wipe it off with a paper towel, because a paper towel will really only absorb 1 layer of the toner. That's why we've also included a sponge for you to take everything out. Since it can be a dirty job, we've also given you a glove. And finally, if you manage to be religious about cleaning the toner off of your rollers, you're going to have one more problem, and that is the primary feed tire right here is probably going to be the first thing to fail on this paper folder. So that's why we've included 1 additional primary feed tire. So if you keep the rollers clean, eventually one day this will fail. Most people would throw out their paper folder. You've only reached the halfway point. So I've shown you how to fix it. I've shown you how to clear a jam. I've shown you all about how to maintain it. But what I haven't given you is my opinion on it. So stay tuned. I'll let you know where the Martin Yale 1611 falls amongst all the paper folders that are out on the market. Alright, so with the Martin Yale 1611, we talked about it, we ran it, we broke it down, we cleared the jam, we put it back together, and we fixed it. What I can't do, though, is show you how it stacks up against every other paper folder side by side. But having done this for a living, I can tell you my personal opinion of it. When you compare the Martin Yale 1611 to all the other paper folders out there, it stacks up pretty well. I want to start with my criticisms. I'd probably have to say criticism comes when most people are used to buying a paper folder that's maybe $200 or $300. They buy it from Staples or Office Depot, and it may have the word heavy duty on the box, and they'll think that they got some rock star paper folder, and that's just not the case. You really get what you pay for with a paper folder. But when people spend, 2 or 3 times that amount of money, they believe that they now have a commercial grade paper folder, something that they can run production volumes through. And I gotta tell you, there are paper folders out there that cost $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, and they're made very different from this. And they are built like a rock, and they're designed to handle volumes in excess of 10, 20, 100,000 pieces per month. Just because you spent more than you thought you would on this paper folder does not mean that it's production grade. We're looking at an approximate duty cycle of maybe 5,000 pieces per month, plus or minus. If you're doing higher than that, you better be very religious about cleaning the rollers. If you're doing lower than that, you have a little bit more room to be lazier on the maintenance, but it still has to be done. But please don't be under the impression that you have bought a industrial grade paper folder, because you didn't. This is a very, very good paper folder, but in its category, okay? So below $1,000. Some other criticisms of it. I think this table right here is pretty crazy. I've seen a lot of other paper folder companies, they just put letters here. So if we want to do a half fold, we put this one right here at letter C and this one down here at letter C. And then we're done. Martin Yale, they probably did a better thing by adding the exact measurements down to 1/100 of an inch, but I think it was a little bit unnecessary. I think people might have been more receptive to a color-coded type of a program. But I want to finish on a high note. The Martin Yale 1611 is among the best in its class. You look at it, it's got a plastic shell, but elsewhere it's all metal. This is all rock solid. And that gives my customers confidence. It also gives me confidence. The Martin Yale 1611 has a very good service history when you clean the rollers. The multi-sheet feeder seems to be an excellent addition. I've seen this done wrong a lot of times. I've seen multi-sheet feeders that truly don't work the way they're advertised. This one really does. It'll take 5 sheets of paper. We even tested it at 6 one time off camera. Work no problem. We're not guaranteeing that'll work, but it's good to know. I think they've got a good system with this. It's also nice to see an exit conveyor in the under $1,000 price range. Martin Yale has a few other paper folders out right this second that don't have exit conveyors in the under $1,000 price range, and they just shoot paper right off the table. That's not a great way of being productive when it comes to running a paper folder. And some people who use paper folders need things to stay in the exact same order anyways. I do wish that the conveyor had reached a lip so that it would gather the paper. This is nice when you're working on like a slippery plastic table, because it'll push all of the pieces out. But if you're not working on a table that has a little bit of a finish to it, then it might just stop where it is and back up. And that can be circumvented very easily just by having somebody there to gather the paper. And you also have to keep in mind what you're spending on a paper folder like this. If you're spending $3,000 or $5,000, then yeah, you have a right to expect that you could run a whole ream of paper without attending the paper folder at all. But in this price range, you're just not going to get that. The adjustments are easy. The folder isn't unusually loud. It's got a decent size hopper right here for holding paper. It's got a number of different adjustments like the retarder adjustment. It's got all the basic features. The question is, when it comes to a paper folder, is it reliable? On the Martin Yale 1611, yes, it's reliable. And that's all you can ask of a paper folder. So that about does it for the Martin Yale 1611. My name's Kyle Mitchell with Whitaker Brothers. Thanks for watching.